and welcome to Home Farm. Today I'm going to be showing you our brand new Christmas tree from Balsam Hill. It's a BH Balsam Fir 7-footer. So this is our Christmas tree for December 2020, and this has been our artificial Christmas tree that we've had for nearly 20 years. It's 6 foot and every single branch is one of those ones that go in individually. So you have to build the center pole, and then you have to put in and slot in every single branch. It is not lit, which, as you can see, is one of my biggest challenges with this old Christmas tree, is that I have to string it and light it myself. So Balsam Hill is an American artificial Christmas tree manufacturer, and they produce basically luxury Christmas trees that are of the highest standard and beautiful quality, and a buy once definitely type of Christmas tree. So they had a January sale on. It's a really good time to pick up a Christmas tree if you're looking at replacing or getting a new artificial Christmas tree just after Christmas. Actually, I think this one started just between Christmas and New Year, and it's basically the end of year clearance sale. So they have huge discounts, and it is by far the best time to pick yourself up a really good bargain. So at the moment, I have 7 sets of lights on our existing old Christmas tree. This is not going to get thrown away, this Christmas tree. I will keep it, I will utilize it in a different part of the house. So to show you what we're dealing with, it is a controlled mess, but it is most definitely a mess, the lighting situation. And what I'm so excited about with the Balsam tree is that it is just one plug that goes straight into the wall. I'm going to put it on a smart timer for Christmas 2021, so that it's just one plug, it's nice and safe, and we don't have this mishmash spaghetti junction of cables and all these different lights, and different sets of lights come on at different times. And the problem with these lights is because every single set is different. I've got some that flash, some that don't flash, some that just have a mind of their own. So it's just going to be so lovely to be able to turn hopefully it'll turn on by itself with the smart plug, and all the lights will just be uniformed and all doing the same thing, which is hopefully just glowing. So this is the Balsam Fir. It's a 7-footer. So as you can see from the box, it's quite a large box, so it was much more comfortable for 2 of us to carry in the box together. And the box as it is now, as you see it, is approximately about 28 kgs. So fairly heavy. And when you open your balsam tree, this is what it looks like inside. This is how it's been packed. One of the absolute benefits of Balsam Hill is that the trees that are pre-lit, you can buy the bulbs. They have spare bulbs. They have a whole bunch of troubleshooting if there was a strand that was just not to switch on. So that it is really sustainable. Once you buy this, you should have it for forever, really. And you get a storage bag with it. It's like a plastic canvas storage bag, zip bag with branding on. And this is what we'll pop the tree in to store it for this year. You also get a little manual with instructions on how to set the tree up, and I believe somewhere in here will also be a pair of gloves. The reason why I'm setting this up, even though it is January 2021, which is really odd because everybody else has taken their Christmas trees down, is that I've kept our old tree up so that we can really compare the size, both height and width and dimension and quality. And also I want to set this up and make sure 100% that it is working, that everything is here and that it's all functioning nicely, so that I can put it into storage and then open it up in December 2021. I don't want to just purchase it and put it straight into storage, because then trying to have that conversation with them that I hadn't opened it and something was not working might be a bit messy. So I think it's a good idea to just make sure 100% that it's correct and all in good order, which I'm sure it will be. Then you've got this little pouch. This is where you get your gloves. I have always used gardening gloves, those kind of silicone kind of gardening gloves, or just marigolds, your washing up gloves. But with Balsam Hill, you get their kind of like a satiny type glove, so that's great. Oh wow, you get 2 pairs. His and hers. That's exciting. And then we get some spare bulbs, little box of spare bulbs, which is great. A little tool, some what looks to be like rubber feet. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, to put two full Christmas trees up here might be a little bit cramped, but we really just wanted to be able to show you the difference and show you the size. So it might end up being a bit difficult to film in here, but we're gonna try and do our absolute best. Okay, so we've got the stand out and put it to one side. And then this is literally the whole tree. It comes in 3 sections. The sections are labeled here on these tags. So section 1, section 2, and section 3. Section 1 is the one that goes on the bottom. So you start with section 1, and that is where your cable, your power cable for the lights, comes off that bottom section. So we're gonna untie this and slot this into the stand. So before I put section 1 in, I'm just gonna remove this end cap. And then this is what's going to slot into our base. So one thing I could not find online was how long these cables are from the tree to the actual socket. And this, we just measured it for you, and it's 3 meters. So that's a really good length if you have to put it at a corner of the room and you don't have a power point near you. 3 meters is a pretty good length. I'm really happy with that. Wow, look at that. It's such a lovely yellow warm glow, and the branches are just gonna fall down. How marvelous is that? And just so even with lighting, which is exactly what I want. So now I'm just gonna fluff these branches up. I'm not gonna do the absolute maximum of what I would normally do because it is January and I'm gonna be putting this tree away. But I just want to fluff it a little bit so that we can at least show you it in, you know, a nice form. So when you're looking at a balsam tree, a Balsam Hill tree, they come in 3 categories. I think it was traditional, realistic, and most realistic, something like that. The traditional trees typically have a lot more of this PVC flat, kind of bristled, thinner branches. The realistic had more of a kind of equal amount, and then the most realistic tree had a lot more of this end tip where you see it's a really nice molded kind of silicone-y kind of plastic soft bristles, and these have been modeled on and actually taken molds from real trees, so they're really nice and realistic, and they feel nice and soft, and they look really lovely when you see them up close. So once you've chosen your category, which category you want to be in, you then have a look at all the different trees. They've got so many trees in each of those categories, and what you can do is you can actually select the different trees that you like the look of and then hit the compare button, and that's really handy on their website to look at the compare button because it tells you quite a lot of key points. So number 1, for example, how many lights are on if you're looking at pre-lit. Each tree has got a different number of lights. So on the comparison chart, it'll tell you how many lights you get on that tree. It will also tell you on the chart how many tips you get. So these are your tips, all the different stems or branches that you get. So obviously the more tips you have on your tree, the denser and fuller it's going to look, which is something I wanted to keep in mind because we're putting our tree right in front of a window. So you get a lot of backlight that comes through the tree. So in order to avoid lots of gaping holes in the tree, I wanted something that had a lot of tips on it. Then it will also tell you your percentage ratio of on that particular tree, how much percentage you get of the PVC bristles, which are these ones on the inner side on this particular tree, and how many of the silicone kind of pre-molded plastic bristles you get. So I think for this tree, for the BH Balsam Fir, if I'm not mistaken, it was something along the lines of like 75-25 or something like that. I'll have to put it up on the screen, but it was a nice, for me, I was really happy with the quantity of lights I was getting, the number of tips I was getting, and I was happy with the ratio percentage of the kind of flat PVC bristles, which I didn't want to see too much of, versus how much of this really nice pre-molded bristles that you get that are really lovely and soft and realistic. Okay, so for section 2, I'm just going to pop this cap open, and that is where I'm going to slide the next section in, and that is what their easy plug technology is. And then I'll take the cap off this one on this side again, just like I did with the other section. Wow, just like that, it turns on instantly. Here comes section 3. It's a beast. That's it, our balsam tree is up. It's all in great working order. There is absolutely no issues with the lights. They've all come on, every single last one of them, which is beautiful. I've done a very quick fluff of the tree, just so that it looked a little bit more presentable to show you, but in no means is this the maximum fluff that I could have done. So I'm just super thrilled with it. I think that the outer bristles, the realistic bristles, or most realistic bristles, really are realistic. The colour is beautiful, and that is something that I really struggled to see when I was looking online at pictures or even videos, and I'm sure that we'll have the same issue here, is it just doesn't really come across as just how realistic the colour is of the tree. So it's kind of like that matte, it is green. It's got a tint of blue in it, but it's definitely a matte green, but it really is, when I've heard people say, it really is a garden green, and it really is. It does not look fake at all in the colour. Our previous tree, as you can see, is a very dark green, so it kind of wasn't very realistic. What is such an improvement on my old tree is that this previous tree, the bristles, I don't know if you can see, but they're just, there's nothing to them really. You get one branch in the middle, and then the rest of it is literally just this kind of soft bristle. So trying to hang decorations on this is the issue that I face. It just doesn't really hold the decoration, and it's not very secure, and it ends up having to take the whole bristles to hang it. What is so lovely on this tree is that you just have so many tips. There are just tips everywhere in all directions, which allows you to distribute your decorations so much more easily and in so much more of an even fashion. So I really like the fact that I've got so many different places to put my decorations. The bristles can actually take the weight. Let's just grab a bauble off our old tree, and I'll show you what I mean. So, you know, the fact that you've got, for example, this is the same branch, but you know, as you can see here, I've got so many tips to choose from, and just pop that on, and the bristle does not drop or droop at all. It stays exactly in place and holds the decoration. In fairness, this is a very light decoration, but I still had droopy issues on this previous bristle just because it was such a fine bristle. So I really like the way that this tree is constructed. I think the bristles are fantastic, the tips are great, it looks really realistic. I do like the 7 foot, it just fits the height of our ceiling, so it's still giving me enough space to put a topper on. The tops of the trees are very different, so if you are choosing a balsam tree, you want to kind of also just pay attention to the top structure and how you particularly, what your personal preference is of how you like the top. There are some that just have that single branch kind of shooting out the top to give it the height, but then it kind of is barer, if you like. So some people love that. I wanted something that was quite rounded off at the top so that it can take my ribbon bow toppers, which I still want to continue to do. So this is a great shape for me, so that's something that you kind of want to keep in mind. The top, very top branch up here, they've actually made it extra thick and extra dense. I think there's some extra metal support in there, or wire support in there, so it's really strong. So if you did want to put a star on there, it'll actually take the weight and be stable. So as you can see, it's a really lush, full profile. They call this a teardrop shape, and as you can see, it is actually a very distinctive shape. And I think it's really beautiful and is exactly the kind of shape that we wanted for this room. And I think it's gonna look absolutely gorgeous in here. The other thing that I'm super impressed by is just how even and realistic the tree looks, consistently. So for example, with our old tree, you can see that the levels are very distinctive. So when you put the branches in, even no matter how much I try and fluff them so they go upright, because there's just not enough stiffness in these branches, it just doesn't. I end up having these kind of real distinctive levels in between the branches and the tree all the way down, which I'm personally not a huge fan of. And what I love about this tree is that you can't really see where the levels are. They've really, the way that they've made the branches bend and come up in all different shapes and sizes and directions helps break the tree up and really gives you a more cohesive look of a Christmas tree in itself. So I think this tree had around about 700 lights on it, so that gives you an idea of what kind of 700 lights looks like on a 7-footer. I think that it's really beautifully lit and it gives off the exact kind of glow that I was hoping for. The LED lights have been professionally hand strung onto the branches, and wow, what a difference compared to when I've been trying to string lights into trees. They have never come out this even before. So yeah, it's a massive improvement when it's been done professionally, and the tree really does look consistently lit, and there's a really nice glow, especially at the top of the tree. So the light connections run inside the tree trunk itself. So that's why those 3 sections kind of clip together with their easy plug technology. And that is really great, because I've heard that on some other trees you get between the sections there's an actual cable, and you kind of connect that cable to each other all the way up. But this one, it's just so easy, and you just pop that section on and it immediately connected and lit up. So the easy plug is definitely a real benefit. We have an artificial tree because we run wood burning stoves in our house, in our farmhouse. So the air just gets way too dry to have real trees. We do have plenty of beautiful real pine trees outside that we can enjoy, but inside we just like to have an artificial tree because then it's going to last us the whole season and not drop. This, I think, really helps us bring in that realistic feel of Christmas into the living room, and I'm super excited about decorating it 12 months from now. So if you've got any questions or comments, or you've got a balsam tree, please feel free to leave the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you've got any questions, please let me know, and I will try and answer them as best I can. I've now got the busy task of deconstructing this and putting it away, and then getting on and deconstructing and putting away our old Christmas tree as well. So I'm on double duty on Christmas trees today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We look forward to seeing you on our next video. Thanks very much for watching. Take care.